All right, it's the next day, so I'm gonna take all this junk off the table and see how the planks came out.
Last time, Garrett scarfed together the final 4 sheets of plywood. 3 sheets became 2 12-foot long pieces, and 1 sliced and diced to a 2 by 12-foot piece. These panels are the planking material for our new 10-foot dinghy. The mothership was also a backyard boat build, so it only seemed fitting to craft her tender in the same setting. The epoxy wood fiber combo cured nicely, and now Garrett has to fair the seams before we can move on to drafting the planks.
Good enough. I'm not going for perfection here.
We unroll the plans again, which include full-scale templates for every part of the build. On to planking.
Yeah, so I just got to figure out how to lay everything out on the panels, which planks go on which panels, and then I got to figure out how I want to stick the panels together to cut everything. So you cut them, you stick the panels together, trace it onto one side, then cut them out. So you're cutting 2 planks out of each one so that they're perfectly symmetrical.
Oh, 2 at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. Do you know about how many planks you have in total?
14.
14 total planks.
Mm-hmm.
It's so tiny. So 8 planks to tap and draw out, which will duplicate once cut out from the doubled up panels. Garrett's wrangled me to help today, doing all the tracing and connecting the dots thing. It'll be 2 panels at one time. So that'll save a little bit of time.
And I want Ruth to help me with the poking the holes, because that's such a long, tedious process, and I hate doing jobs like that, but Ruth is really good at them, like cutting in with paint and, you know, doing all the little stuff like painting the rigging and
almost anything that requires a lot of patience. First step is figuring out which way he wants to orientate the sheets.
the top one will be inside outside, and then this one will be
outside
inside outside. Outside inside, yeah. They fold out like that. It doesn't really matter because I've decided that I'm not going to bother trying to finish it right.
One side is bound to be smoother than the other, but this is a cruising dinghy, and reaching shore could mean beaching on rocks or tying up to a barnacle dock.
On edge.
So instead of finishing bright, a little red paint and she'll match Red Aviva just fine. Most of you agreed this is the best choice.
Just gonna put little bits of CA glue on the edges, and then I'm probably gonna actually like tack them down to the table. All right, so I got these two panels tacked down to the table itself, and then I went around the edges of both the panels and I just CA glued the whole thing together, kind of like little tack welds, so I can easily trim them off with a little oscillating saw later, but so the panels are securely attached to each other so they can't move at all. Pull the plans up and we'll get all of the planks transferred down onto this, and then we can cut all the planks out of both of these panels and they should be perfectly matching each other.
Coming from the dark garage to the bright backyard is retinal torture.
Go back.
Looking at the plans is like staring into a fluorescent light bulb.
Okay. Straighten that out. So annoying trying to mess with this stuff in the wind. I'm blinded again. You can get the first one all put down and right down properly. Put that back on the pool table.
There are a few other pieces, like the seat supports on this scroll, that will be cut from a different gauge plywood. Garrett has cut out nearly all the pieces, but a few needed later on.
So it's up to you. You can just line it and push. But that'll wear on your hands pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So you can take your super awesome, huge, intimidating hammer. I got this hammer for Ruth. It's not going to be absolutely perfect because there's also grain in the wood that's going to, you know, even if you put it exactly on the right line every single like time, yeah, sometimes it'll, but just do your best.
Okay.
The longer you take, the more time you spend with the holes, easier it is to trace out later.
That spacing's okay?
Yeah.
Or do you want it tighter? Like that?
You know, you can do this, that's fine.
Here we go.
And I punch mine a lot deeper because they're what the wire's going through.
Oh.
So that's why I'm really
Smashing.
hammering on them.
Mine doesn't need to be too deep.
No. This would be a good job for you.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you've done this for like a month straight?
Yep.
Just poking holes. These are pieces on a different sheet of plywood.
Yeah.
We have 2 more planks to tap out. There's no way around the time it takes to build from scratch, but the intimacy with your project is unmatched to the kit. I counted 84 pieces to gain affection for. This fondness fades after the first dozen, but returns when the haul takes shape. It really doesn't take that long, it's just part of the process. The kit would give you a little shortcut, but Garrett is partial to the long way. Garrett's getting the final 2 planks for these sheets of plywood laid out, and we're gonna tap a bunch of holes and connect a bunch of dots. So this is the majority of the planking, and then this kind of skinny laid up sheet is gonna have the final pieces. Process to get to this point. I circle the points that need to be drilled for the copper wire that'll be threaded through to pull the hull together. Alright, ready to start connecting all these dots. And now I can draw the plank. The ends of these 2 I get to use a straight edge, but the rest has subtle to severe curves that's best by hand. Obviously, the shadow from the fence is about to cover the plywood hole, and I'm gonna guess that's not enough time for Garrett to cut out the planks. So, mañana. A majority of our time is spent in Mexico, but escaping the heat, building, and seeing family in California has been a nice change of pace. This temperate summer has been so pleasant. Can you believe this? Slippers in August. It's exciting, you're finally going to get to cut the planks.
Mm-hmm.
It's been quite the saga.
Yeah.
Getting up to this point.
Yeah.
Beginning in early July, and now it's late August, we've been busy with more than just this project. But finally, just a few days away from turning this puzzle three-dimensional, it's very exciting. There are a few mortises to cut as well, that'll receive the frames, and then drilling for the wire stitches, which will hold the hull shape in place as epoxy is added, then removed before the fiberglass is laid. The shear planks are the last pieces to cut before we can start constructing the hull, and it starts looking like a boat.
Last step, the planking. We've got our last panel. This is our shear plank panel. So I just need to halfway point, snap a line all the way across, and then slice this right down the middle, fold it on top of itself, so that way we can do the same thing with the other planks. Just put trace the one shape, cut both of them at the same time, that way they're symmetrical, blah blah blah. This is where it's been really nice to have my dad's garage, my dad's place to build this. Is even though so many of my tools I had to leave in Mexico on the boat, he's still got a bunch of what I need in the garage. So he happened to have a chalk line.
What a beautiful cut. That's remarkable.
It was straight until that point.
Till you gave up?
So I stopped caring so much. It doesn't need to be straight.
Garrett has a few more frames to finish, while I tackle tapping and drawing the shear plank. Garrett's the brain and brawn in this operation. I'm just the grunt worker. The repetitive, mindless tasks are perfect for me. There's our shear planks. Garrett cuts free the shear planks and can now start assembling the hull. This is a stitch and glue construction, so step one, the stitches.
All right, I am roasting today. It is hot. I'm trying to do a little bit in the garage, but I have to work outside to kind of clean the planks up a little bit, sand, clean edges up, and then I just brought my first two planks in, and I'm gonna do just kind of like a trial stitch together just to make sure everything's going well, like it should be. Just got the plank laid out here, and I'm just starting to throw my little stitches in. So I'm gonna start here, work my way down, and then hopefully this thing will just open up like it's supposed to. All right, wish me luck. Okay, a little too tight the first time. See if this helps. There, that's pretty good. All right, there's the start of the hull. So I just need to finish cleaning up the rest of the panels and then I can keep stitching more on. Okay, next plank's ready to go. Oh, and also I'll mention, you'll probably notice as I go along that there's little strips of fiberglass on the scarf joints. That's definitely something that's not necessary at all. It's not in the plans, they don't call for it, and it's not needed. But if you watched me build Red Aviva, you probably know that I have a tendency and an obsessive behavior of needing to build things excessively strong. Any place where I could strengthen up a potential weak point, I don't know, I go overkill. So it's not necessary, you don't need it. I'm not even recommending that you should do it, but it's super thin plywood and these scarves are tiny, tiny, tiny. And I just feel better with, it's just one strip of 6-ounce tape across it. It just makes me feel a little bit better having a little extra reinforcement there, because not all the planks get fiberglassed. Or, I mean, I might still fiberglass the whole thing. We'll see. And I did it last night at the end of the day, really, really quick, and we're having camera issues. Surprise, still having camera issues. So I didn't get to film it, but you didn't miss much. It was just me laying down a bunch of little pieces of this tape. I moved back out to the worktop. It was just getting too awkward working in there. But it feels like it's cooled down a little bit. I think this is the stage where they start putting frames in. I need to consult the book.
All right. Up next, we get the frame stitched in place and wrap the remaining planks together, rounding the hull into shape. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.